They're all set at Olympia in West London for tonight's Big Fight Live. Paul Hodkinson defends his world featherweight title against the Puerto Rican Ricardo Cepeda. And meantime, Sheffield Wednesday and Ipswich were involved in a Coca-Cola Cup rematch. Blackburn are waiting for the winners in the semis, and we've got the Hills for highlights later on. Hello, good evening to you all. Yes, we've got that football after our live world title fight as Nottingham Forest, Newcastle, Arsenal and Wimbledon make progress in the FA Cup. We'll have more details for you later on. But first, we're going to concentrate on Paul Hodkinson, the 27-year-old Scouser, one of the quiet men of British boxing, really, but he could well become just about the most respected world champion we've ever had. Hodkinson's powerful, aggressive and committed, and must be close to his fighting prime. His opponent, Ricardo Cepeda, nicknamed the General. He's been wearing battle fatigues and making pretty aggressive noises as well. Now, Hodkinson's held the WBC 9-stone belt for just over a year since a magnificent performance against the Mexican Marcos Villasana. Eye damage had beaten Hodkinson in their first meeting, but this time he won by a mile. The fight was totally one-sided. Hodkinson, just like his Liverpudlian hero John Conte, was a world champion. Now, Cepeda's also been in with Villasana. He went the full distance too, but couldn't quite cope with a very respected champion. On the way, Cepeda, now based in New York City, gave Villasana all he could handle, but he faded in the later rounds. Tonight, Cepeda's made no secret of the fact he was going to go for the champion's suspect eyes. And now Cepeda tries to take Hodkinson's crown. The champion knows some big paydays are looming, but he's in great shape for a rare London appearance. And also in good shape, a former WBC featherweight champion, a WBA featherweight champion, I should say, really, shouldn't I, Barry? Barry McGuigan, you know all about fighting for the featherweight crown, and you rate Paul Hodkinson very highly. One of the best value for money fighters in the world today, not just this country. Really exciting, comes at you, all action, my type of fighter. Now, some very unusual preparations for him tonight, Barry, because as I mentioned a bit earlier on, if there is a suspect area about him, it's his eyes. And what's going on there in Hocko's? Well, what they're doing apparently is they're putting adrenaline and ice on his eyes to cool down the cheekbones and the eyebrows, so that he has very vulnerable eyes. He's prone to cuts and swelling, and that lost him his title the first time round, so he wants to make sure it doesn't happen again, and that's why he's using that unusual treatment. OK, and I think we can cross over to Olympia now and just pick up the scene there. The fighters will be due in any moment. Cepeda, in fact, in the ring already. And I would expect Hodkinson to come out blasting, Barry, wouldn't you? We're waiting for him to come into the ring, and here he comes now, Hocko, because he's really one of the most exciting fighters around at the moment. He'll come out roaring, that's for sure. He's a really exciting style. He's a very fast starter, and he'll go for this guy right from the word go. He'll be pouring pressure on him, putting him back, and just having a go at him in the early rounds. That's what he'll be trying to do, get him out of there good and quickly. Cepeda is not a great boxer, nor is he a great fighter. He can do both very well, but he can't do either well enough to keep Hodkinson off him. And I just really think that Hodkinson is going to pour all over him and pound him into the floor. I reckon he must be close to being the most talented of our world champions, but as yet, Hodkinson, this fellow, really hasn't had the recognition, the glory he deserves. Not really is right, because he's, in my opinion, the most exciting guy around. Maybe Nigel Benn and Lennox Lewis would have something to say about that, but he really is an exciting young kid, and you watch, every time he gets into fight, he's Mr. Exciting. And he's very much a Scouser. His big dream is to fight for a world title at Anfield. You'll never walk alone, we can hear coming across quite clearly. What do you think will be in his mind tonight, Barry, just before we cross over there? What will he want to do? Just Cepeda. He wants to get this job over and done with. It's one fight at a time, and he'll want to get Cepeda out of there as quickly as possible. OK, Barry, thanks very much for your comments. Of course, our commentary team of Jim Watt and Reg Guttridge will be waiting in just a moment. But first of all poised to go there is the MC Mike Wood.
Ladies and on behalf of Frank Warren Productions, in association with Eastwood Promotions, welcome to London's Olympia. Tonight's main event is sponsored by the Daily Mirror and is a contest of 12 3-minute rounds to decide the WBC Featherweight Championship of the world. The officials appointed for this contest by the World Boxing Council, the judges, Mr. Armand Krief of France, Mr. Arsène Klopp of Luxembourg, and Mr. Marty Salem of USA. The referee in charge of the action this evening, Mr. Franz Marty of Switzerland. The WBC supervisor, Mr. Ray Clark, OBE, and the British Boxing Board of Control steward in charge, Mr. Ken Lias. The timekeeper this evening is Mr. Tommy Rice. Introducing to you in the red corner, wearing the white trunks, from Puerto Rico, the challenger. His record reads 23 wins, 2 losses, 1 draw, 16 wins by KO. Would you please welcome the challenger, Ricardo Cepeda. And in the blue corner, wearing the red trunks, from Liverpool, his record reads 21 wins, 1 loss, 1 draw, 20 wins by KO, the WBC Featherweight Champion of the World, Paul Hodkinson! At the weigh-in of 7 o'clock yesterday evening, both boxers scaled 8 stone, 13 3/4 pounds. Ladies and gentlemen, the WBC Featherweight Championship of the World.
So there it is then, get your ringside seat comfortable there. Referee Franz Marty actually handled Paul Hodkinson's defence against Benachou in France when the Frenchman complained that he was butted, but certainly the referee wanted no part of that, and Hodkinson won a fair decision by stopping the Frenchman in the 10th round in his second defence. So the third defence coming up, and as you can see, he got the headband there of his nickname Hoko. I shouldn't think that there's not much point in doing this. He must have been in the dressing room just to tighten up any of the rules. No 3 knockdowns in 1 round by 1 boxer now, as happens in some of them in this contest. So there we go then, scheduled of course for 12 at 9 stone, and they're both just 1/4 pound inside. And one of the best all-round fighters in the business, I think, Paul Hodkinson. A little bit unsung in many ways, but a real good workman. And if you put the vote among these sort of pro traders, I've got a feeling that Hodkinson could come out on top with respect and popularity. So now Cepeda has been out the ring actually for 11 months. Sometimes a layoff can do a fighter good. Often they talk about ring rust and so forth, but there are times when it suits him. It depends now whether Cepeda's brought some ambition with him. If he has, he's a real tough nut to crack. Got stopped last time out actually, Cepeda, so I don't know whether he's a little bit shell-shocked even with a lengthy rest. He's taken some stick in this opening round. Full of confidence now, Paul Hodkinson. Remember the World Boxing Council version, which was formed with the British Board as co-founders, actually is a very prestigious title to hold, a very genuine one. So with a minute gone, Jim, they're not wasting any time having any scouting reports here, are they?
No, started at a fair pace. Cepeda looks to have good, strong arms. These are kind of thumping punches he's throwing at Hodkinson. Hodkinson by far the sharper of the two, putting his punches together well. He's found his range straight away and getting the punches off straight away, so he certainly looks far sharper than Cepeda.
Groomed at Madison Square Garden, Cepeda is one of the house favourites there. talk about get on with the work. That's why I've always thought he was so underrated. It's true he suffered with the eye swelling, as Barry McGuigan was pointing out there, but he went in the last fight with Villasana, the return fight, and won it well there without getting marked. So maybe they found the answer. Put him on ice. He can box a bit, Hodkinson, and fight a lot, Jim, can't he?
Yeah, and he's got through with some good stiff shots in the first round, but Cepeda certainly taken them well, hasn't been troubled at all.
He's actually a very strong built fighter, Cepeda.
He actually looks a fair bit bigger than Hodkinson. Hodkinson's not really what you say a big framed featherweight. But he's got a nice tight little style, good tight defence, chin nice and low. But Cepeda looks strong, certainly bigger, but that one shook him.
That right-handed, Jim, right on the button there too. There was a sort of surprise on Cepeda's face as he took that. Well, Cepeda says he's been studying videos a lot of Hodkinson, and he'll need to. The referee then just collecting the cards as they do after every round, and the supervisor is a London Ray Clark. He has to total them. There's the last bit, Jim, of the round.
Yeah, well, Hodkinson just managed to shake him. I think just before this point, Cepeda in a little bit of discomfort there, gets his defences up quite well, but he was shaken just before this point.
Negro Gonzalez, manager, in the corner there, and oh dear, well, there's a little bit of blood there, and he's having to use the adrenaline swabs right away. One of 16 children, this 8 brothers who did a bit of fighting, 7 sisters. Well, they probably did a fighting as well, I think. They breed them tough in Puerto Rico. They churn out a lot of good fighters. Time off, what's the problem there? I'm not sure why Franz Marty, why he came out late for that second round. Tending to hold and hit a bit, Cepeda, Jim. Hodkinson's got to watch that. He doesn't want to be head bumping if he can help it.
Yeah, well, I don't think he can match Hodkinson for sharpness. He's trying to step away, give himself a bit of room. I don't think he fancies the close-up stuff. This is where Hodkinson really takes command. See, Cepeda throws kind of wide arm punches. He doesn't have the compact style to his punching that Hodkinson has.
I think the term featherweight is a bit misleading, Jim. We're right on top of the action here, and I'm telling you, those punches are digging in the ribs. I can't get over the physique of this fella for a featherweight, Jim. He must have hollow legs to make under 9 stone.
Yeah, but as I said earlier, Hodkinson is not a big featherweight. But when they land punch for punch, Hodkinson seems to have the power anyway of the two. A little bit stronger in his punches.
He really wears them down, Hodkinson, just like a virus, doesn't he? He's got punches coming in from all angles. Oh, he's nailed him there, okay. He didn't want to go down there, but he'll have to take the mandatory 8 now, because that was definitely a touchdown. And the referee just glancing at the English timekeeper. Well, they say, Jim, they're dangerous when they're hurt sometimes, these fellas, especially the fellow like Cepeda who's fought in top class all the time.
Yeah, Hodkinson has to keep in mind that the injury has to watch Cepeda's head when he's moving in to try and finish the job here. Cepeda seems to have recovered all right.
Well, he absorbs a good punch, it would seem, Cepeda, but for how long for? Good quality punching, isn't it? Real world championship stuff, this.
See, Hodkinson just he works for 3 minutes of everywhere. Oh, lovely left hook, bang in the chin, but again Cepeda took that well. That was a lovely punch.
Well, you can see why the fans at Madison Square Garden in New York like this fellow, can't you, Cepeda? Gives them their money's worth. That's Bernardo Chaca, its trainer in the corner from Panama, actually. Let's have a look at that knockdown in replay.
I thought the punch landed a little bit high, but there, a little jolting shot to the chin.
He's switching the punches, Jim. He
No,
dropped
good
that
shot.
right
No,
in.
actually caught him on the chin all right. It looked to me, first of all, it was high, but no, it was bang on the chin.
And again there, he did well to get up so quickly, really, Cepeda. I'm not sure that he should have done that, really. Had to stand up for the 8 count anyway. Well, just in his case, a couple of contusions at the moment, nothing more. No bruises of battle yet. 27 years old, Hodkinson. Third round then. Just a reminder, WBC Featherweight Championship of the World from the Olympia in London. I bet Cepeda doesn't think there's a British fighter that could fight him like an American one. All body punches, switching them.
See, he's got a great variety of punches, Hodkinson, and the way he whips his shoulder and hips around with a punch, it's a full leverage. These are really good punches coming from Hodkinson.
And there's a chance to suck us off for Hoko. Well, obviously warning there, don't hold on.
That's usually the first sign that the body shots are hurting, when Cepeda's grabbing hold of the gloves and clinging on.
Minute gone in the third. See, from previous fights, Jim, you know, Hodkinson doesn't punch himself out doing this. He can keep going the whole time.
Yeah, well, I always feel the one exerting the pressure handles it better.
Oh, what a shot. Wasn't that beautiful, the way he shifted there. Ducked under the punches, left to right, and then whipped his own right-hand punch over.
I'm just worried about the way the heads are banging together up close. That's the only fear. I mean, Hodkinson's total control, far sharper than Cepeda, and he's hurt him again.
He's definitely got him well on the hook now. Is he going to let him off or not? This fellow absorbs a fair punch, and he's brought his heart with him, I tell you that. He may have been run out of ambition a little bit, but the heart's still there. Inside the last minute of the round. Hodkinson almost ignoring those punches, Jim. That's a little bit dangerous, actually.
Yeah, can't afford to do that. As I say, we're just worried about the eyes banging up. At the moment, it really looks as though Hodkinson's in total control. He could maybe force a stoppage, but Cepeda's taken his punches well. Has a lovely uppercut.
Tremendous performance by Hodkinson, because this fella's tough and willing with a proven track record. He's not the #1 challenger, but the #1 challenger, Kevin Kelly, has flown from America to see this fight. Is at ringside. Well, Barry McGugan was saying that Hodkinson's his type of fighter, so let's have a word with him then.
Yeah, I just think that Hodkinson is boxing absolutely beautiful. He's staying within punching range. He's hitting him with pinpoint, precision punches, and I feel sure that the fight won't last much longer. He's just dismantling him. Watch some of these punches here, are beautiful. Picking his body shots and head shots, really good, exciting stuff.
Well, Barry, if you made a comeback, what a good fight it'd be with you and Hodkinson. But don't worry, you stay where you are. So there they are, patching him up a little bit there. It's just minor swelling, but this fella's going faster as he goes along. His great ambition is actually is to fight in the open air, defend his championship at Anfield. And what a reception he would get there. It's always good to see such a good, competitive, classy fight as this one. It's true that Hodkinson's well on top is, in boxing terms, the governor, coming out for round 4.
Cepeda's legs look very shaky at the end of the previous round, Reg. So we'll see if he's fully recovered.
Oh dear, he's really laid into those punches and putting full body weight behind them. Yeah, Jimmy's legs are rooted to the canvas there. He didn't want to move there, Cepeda. And it looks like it's all over. I think the second was also trying to acknowledge it was all over in the just 30 seconds into the 4th round. And what a good victory that was for Paul Hodkinson. It's probably, well, not necessarily the most convincing, but as convincing as any others. And I think he's got better as he's gone along, Jim.
Yeah, and Cepeda didn't look to have much left at the end of the 3rd round. His legs were very shaky. He looked all in already. I wondered if he could recover in the minute's break, but he didn't. As soon as he came back out, you could see Hodkinson was a different class, far too strong. Everything going right, and he forced a stoppage. And I think the corner did the right thing too, saving him from unnecessary punishment. Lovely performance from Hodkinson.
Well, he's got to fight the mandatory challenger very soon, Kevin Kelly of America, so I'm just wondering how he's looking. We'll try and get him up if we can. It's hidden in the crowd somewhere, and the ring at least is being controlled a bit. Yes, as you see the security boys around there, rather like sentinels, aren't they, on the ring apron there. So we'll have a look at a bit of replay at the end there, Jim. Trapped in the corner.
Yeah, well, Hodkinson was always the sharper. Right from the opening bell, you could see the difference in sharpness and purpose. And Hodkinson worked all the way through. He always had the upper hand. Cepeda put up stubborn resistance, but never tonight was in the same league.
See, the manager was pulling him off there, surrendering anyway, Jim, but the referee, well, just about the right time. I mean, he had to give this fellow a bit of a chance to try and recover.
Well, the damage had been done in the previous round, and Hodkinson landed a lovely left hook at the start of the 4th round, and that was it. Time to call it a halt.
So there it is, he retaining, of course, the WBC belt. Good to see that. He deserves all the luck he can get, this fellow, because he's a very competent fighter. And as I said, sometimes I think under-publicised, underrated. And he gets so few chances to fight in Liverpool.
Ladies and gentlemen, after 37 seconds of the 4th round, the referee has stopped this contest. Ricardo Cepeda being in no position to defend himself. The winner and undefeated featherweight champion of the world, Paul Hodkinson!
Well, a really outstanding performance, that one from Paul Hodkinson. He's going to have to see the doctors, and I'm sure he'll be talking to Gary Newbon. We'll have a word with Barry McGuigan as well, and we've got football as well coming up, and that's all after the break. Back to Olympia. Gary Newbon's got one or two friends around him, I think, and including the man of the moment, Paul Hodkinson.
Paul Hodkinson, that was a splendid performance. Presumably you saw it exactly the same way.
Yeah, I felt great tonight, you know. I knew in the changing rooms, you know, when it was shadow boxing, I knew tonight was I was going to sparkle, you know, and tonight I was very pleased with my performance.
They seem to have cured the problem about your eyes. I mean, are you conscious about your eyes at all during a fight now?
I'm conscious, you know, you're going to get bumps and bruises in boxing, you know, but I'd say my last 3 fights and I haven't come out with a bruise, you know. Colin has more problem with his eyes than me.
Yeah, if we draw out here, we can actually see the 2 contenders here. First of all, Colin McMillan, let's talk to you. The news on you tonight is you're facing an operation.
I'm going to be out for another 2 months, but hopefully after that I'm looking for Paul. You know, he's always want to fight me, now's the time, you know. I'm ready to phone up and fight him anytime he's ready.
But really, can you beat Hodkinson when he's in that sort of form?
You know, if he's good, I'll be better, no problem.
He is impressive though, Paul Hodkinson.
Tonight, I thought Paul looked okay, but his opponent didn't look too good. Yeah!
Okay, let's move across to the gentleman on the other side of you, and that is Kevin Kelly, the #1 contender, who's flown from America to see you tonight. He's 32-0 with 23 knockouts. You're unbeaten. Now, what's the situation with you and Paul Hodkinson?
Well, I'm here trying to find out the situation. I'm here trying to make the fight between me. I've been #1 for a year or so, and the title has eluded me. The only offer I have had was WBA. I can understand, you know, I've been fighting good quality opponents. Hoko, I want to congratulate him. He looked very good tonight, looked very strong, disposing of Cepeda. And I'm just hoping that they give me the shot, the chance to prove myself. You know, I've proved myself over and over again. I fought the best in the world. And for him to be great, and I want him to be great, if he's going to be a great champion, and to prove that he's a great champion, he has to fight the best, and I'm the best, so he's got to fight me.
Do you think he's trying to avoid you?
I wouldn't say that. I would just say that we haven't met. We're two strangers that haven't met in a dark alley yet. So the bottom line of it is that, you know, taking nothing from Colin McMillan over there, but to be the best, you got to fight the best, and I'm the best.
Is this going to happen?
Colin, Kevin, they will get the 10, don't worry about it. I'll take them all on.
I'll tell you what,
You'll get that 10.
They may have their work cut out.
Oh, yeah,
but I'm the champion.
I take nothing from him. He's a great look. He's a champion. He showed it tonight. I take nothing from me. You know, the thing is, I fought other great champions. I fought Dorsey. I fought the best, and I'm going to fight Hoko.
Okay, it would be the fight of the year for you two, Matt.
Oh yeah.
Well, I just fight whoever's put in front of me. You know, and Colin wants to fight me, Kevin wants to fight me, John Davis wants to fight me. You know, they'll all get their 10. Don't worry about it.
Okay.
They'll all get their 10.
Well done tonight. Thank you.
Thanks very much indeed, Gary Newbon there at Olympia. Well, really, when you've had a fight like Paul has just had, I mean, you must feel, Barry, that you'd be able to fight anybody, 2 or 3 at a time, perhaps.
Mike Tyson, I thought he was as sharp as a tack, in different league completely than Cepeda. And I'm very much looking forward to the domestic scene being cleaned up and the possibility of him fighting Kelly. It's really something to wait with a bated breath for. It's a superb prospect.
It's a bit of sad news that we've just revealed there about McMillan needing an operation, and perhaps that shoulder injury a bit more serious than we all thought.
Yes, that's I'm sure that's a worrying time for his management team, but the fact is, if the guy's not right, he's not allowed to go in there. He's got to get and make sure that that shoulder is going to be okay before he steps in, and I think he's doing the right thing and taking as long as possible for it to make a complete recovery.
It was a very impressive performance from Hodkinson. Did you personally learn anything new about him tonight? Because it was a one-sided fight.
I think he's getting better. I mean, to be honest and fair, I think the opponent was limited enough. He was very slow in comparison to Paul. But Paul, that's maybe taking something away from Paul. His sharpness was incredible. His punch precision, which was very impressive. He never missed the target once. He switched to the body and to the head, and he finished it in immaculate style.
It's interesting, isn't it? Cepeda took some time to go. I mean, I was at the weigh-in last night, and they both came in very close to the limit of 9 stone. But really, he must have been closer to 10, wasn't he?
Yeah, well, I would say with 24 hours you could probably gain 6, 7, 8 pounds, maybe even 9 pounds. I mean, I know that when I would weigh in the morning at 9 stone, I could weigh in 9.5, 9.6 that even. So given 24 hours, I could have weighed that much more. So I have no doubt that Cepeda looked. He looked at least 9 stone 9, 9 stone 10 there.
Right. I know you've been a pretty busy fella today, haven't you? You've been a very active man. You've launched the Professional Boxers Association, Barry.
That's right.
We're going to talk about that in just a moment after this report coming up from Graham Miller.
It's the biggest title Barry McGuigan has ever held. 3 years in the making, the Professional Boxers Association has now arrived. Champions past and present putting their muscle together for the benefit of all. Although signs of a union were hard to spot as they shuffled for space, Chris Eubank simply the last as the team photo lined up. Henry Cooper, Lennox Lewis, Billy Walker, to a man, part of the union.
If you've got jockeys and you've got footballers and you've got rugby players and you've got cricketers, have all got associations, and well, why not boxers?
I think it was really good. I didn't see Frank Bruno there, but you know, I showed up and Chris Eubank showed up and everybody else showed up.
Why do you think Frank Bruno didn't show up?
Well, I don't know. He must have his own reasons.
The PBA's first president is Barry McGuigan. It hurts, he says, when he talks of what's happened to colleagues. The £100,000 fight, for example, after you've deducted the manager's cut, tax, cash for helpers and other expenses, he says, a boxer's lucky to take home £40,000. The PBA will promote a boxer's interest at all times, protecting his rights, offering legal advice and organising benefits and pensions, making sure he gets what he's been promised. how are you going to make the promoters and managers listen to you?
Oh, they will listen. They've already shown their support, and the Board of Control have helped us as well. And I've had unresounding support from the promoters throughout the country, so I don't see that as a problem.
Well, Barry, one thing that has cropped up from that, and Graham mentioned it, Frank Bruno not being there. It's made a big headline in the London paper tonight, a blast from Frank Bruno. You just clear up the situation within the organisation and Frank.
I'd like to clear up the confusion. Frank has given the Professional Boxers Association his unresounding support, so he's with us 100%, and we're all absolutely delighted about that.
Right then, now really the achievements of this, I mean you've had a great send-off today, a great start, all the big names there, you say Frank's on your side.
Absolutely.
Just look a couple of years down the road, what would you really want to achieve then?
Well, we'd like to, first of all, provide financial services for the fighters. We want to promote further education. We want to help them in every which way we can, and that will include legal advice as well. But it's going to take us time to, strength is in numbers, and there are 1,000 fighters in the country, 750 of which are active. We want to sign up every one of those guys to join the association. We're not a belligerent organisation, I hasten to add. We want communication, not confrontation, and we're getting on with the Board of Control, the managers, the promoters and everything, and that will continue.
Best of luck with it, Barry.
Thanks, mate.
Best of luck. Right, I've got to clear up a competition for you, and thousands of you entered this competition at the Herbie Hyde fight, or during the Herbie Hyde fight on Saturday, and we have a winner who's going to be going over to New York for Riddick Bowe and Michael Dokes on Saturday. I shall be over there as well for that fight, and the questions that we asked you was who was Smoking Joe? Of course, that was Smoking Joe Frazier. And who was the hitman? Well, that, of course, was Thomas Hearns, and the winner, there we go, Michael Casey from Little Chalfont in Buckinghamshire, taking his wife Rosemary, probably do a spot of shopping in New York as well. Bowe against Dokes, of course, on Saturday night. And coming up next will be our Coca-Cola Cup football action. We'll be right back with that very shortly.